Due to just a few timing issues, this week's Splatoon video and next week's aren't gonna have as high a production value as some of the last ones did, which is why all you're seeing is just archived footage from when I streamed Splatfest this weekend, instead of any gameplay actually related to what I'm talking about. And also because the subject of today's video is an ability that I've never used and probably never will use, that being Respawn Punisher. Respawn Punisher is an ability that effectively heightens the penalties your opponent gets if you kill them, as in their respawn time is increased and the amount of special gauge they lose is also increased. On paper, that sounds great. However, it also means anytime you die, you get penalties too, and the penalties you get are even greater than the ones your opponent gets. An important thing to note is that Respawn Punisher will completely negate the effects of both Quick Respawn and Special Saver on anyone it's affected by. So that means if you're wearing either of those two abilities and you get killed by someone wearing Respawn Punisher, they won't reduce the penalty to your respawn time and special loss you get. You will still get the same penalty someone not wearing those abilities would get. So, base respawn time, that is no quick respawn, and killed by someone not wearing Punisher, is 8.4 seconds, and base special gauge depletion is 50%, so you'll lose up to half of your special gauge depending on how much was full. If you're killed by someone wearing Respawn Punisher, your respawn time will go up by a full 0.8 seconds to 9.2, and your special gauge depletion will go up 15% to 65. Now, you might be thinking, okay, if you're some sort of frontline slayer and your role in the team is to be getting a lot of the kills that your entire team's going to be getting throughout the game, then maybe you should invest in it. You'll keep the enemy team down for longer, and they'll have specials less, so they might not be able to push out of whatever hold you're trying to get them in by killing them so much. But if you happen to go down while wearing Respawn Punisher, you're going to get an even greater penalty. If a user of Respawn Punisher is killed by any enemy, their respawn time will be 9.6 seconds. And their special gauge depletion will be 72.5%. Now, you might notice that both of those are even harsher penalties than you'd inflict on your opponents for killing them with Respawn Punisher. In fact, both of them are 1.5 times the same penalty you'd be giving your opponent for killing them while wearing Respawn Punisher. You get a significantly greater detriment if you happen to die while wearing it than the people you kill. So obviously they needed to do that for balancing purposes, but the fact of that and the fact that you get a greater detriment kind of defeats the purpose of using this ability, in my opinion. You would pretty much need to not die much, if at all, if you wanted to feel the full effects of this ability, because you're going to be out for a full 1.2 seconds, and you're going to lose almost 3/4 of your special gauge if you happen to be taken out once by one of the people you're trying to spawn camp or keep off the objective or whatever. And that's pretty much giving the enemy team a free push. The really only way to counteract that is to wear maybe quick super jump, a lot of that, so that you jump fast enough to get in not too much later than someone without Respawn Punisher or quick super jump would be, but that's assuming that you need to jump in to get where you are. If you're defending a push that's about to go into your base and you die, then it's a 3v4 for a lot longer than it would be otherwise, and that could honestly just be the factor in losing the game. In my opinion, unless you're sure you're never going to die at all in whatever match you're in, Respawn Punisher has more of a detriment than a boost, and since it's not a stackable ability, well, thankfully it's not a stackable ability, it still takes up one main slot in your gear that could be better used for, I don't know, another shirt ability, like, well, ability doubler, but that's on Splatfest tees. Haunt isn't the greatest thing. Thermal Ink can be very good if you're a blaster or a charger or something like that, and Ninja Squid has always and will always be, until they inevitably nerf it into the ground, one of the best, if not most slept on abilities. So there are really better things you can be putting on your shirt anyway, and even if you don't want to use one of those, there are just better gear abilities in general than Respawn Punisher. There are better unique gear abilities, and there are a lot better stackable abilities too. I honestly don't really have anything else to say on that other than Respawn Punisher is a waste of a slot and more of a detriment to you than anything, unless you just want to... The only way I could sort of see this working is if you're in some sort of context, whether this be competitive or in solo, where you know as a fact that you're going to, like, sweep through people a lot. Like, if you're playing with a bunch of people, or if your team is playing a bunch of people you know are a lot worse at the game than you, so you won't have to worry about dying too much in the first place, then maybe wear Respawn Punisher so that you can just get the quick knockouts even faster than you would otherwise, which, that might work. Like, I could see this being used in ranked speedruns specifically, because obviously if you're going to try to rank speedrun, you're going to be good enough to get to the top ranks in the first place, and you're going to want to do that really fast. So maybe hope that you get Respawn Punisher in your shop starting out, and then you can use that to easily make sure the other team is dead constantly and get knockouts faster, so you reach the higher ranks faster. I could see it being used for that, but in a competitive context where the name of the game is don't die, and this makes dying even more of a penalty than it already was, I can't really recommend Respawn Punisher on most, if not all, builds. But I've still got that Twitter and Twitch you can follow. All of this footage you're seeing now was taken from a stream I did just yesterday as of uploading, so, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, even though it was, no, it was yesterday, because it was after midnight. I need to remember that. But either way, I'm starting to stream Splatoon 2 more. I won't be for this week, so through next weekend, I probably won't be able to stream, just because I won't really have access to my capture card or anything, but after that, I'll start streaming a lot more competitive stuff, and in general, I got more videos coming out. So, until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.